Hey, what's up, ANC Youth? Hope your week is off to a great start. This past Sunday, we continued our series called Dear Church, and we looked at the fourth church recorded, which is a church of Thyatira. And this church was known as the Compromised Church. Now, the two questions that we looked at were, number one, how does a church become compromised? And we saw three things. Number one, you become a compromised church by tolerating sin. Number two, by turning to false teaching. And number three, remaining unrepentant. And the second question then is, how can we be a church that is uncompromised? Because it's when we are uncompromised that we're able to effectively reflect the morning star, Jesus Christ. And the first thing again, then is always the opposite. The first is that we need to start cutting off the small sins in our lives instead of saying, you know what, it's not that big of a deal, just let it be. We gotta recognize the severity of sin and the nature of sin, which is that it's like fungus that it grows, and cut it off while it's still small. And secondly, we need to turn to the truth by knowing the truth. And you see, to go against false teaching, we have to know the truth, and the only way we do that is by studying God's word. Like calculus, we know that the derivative of sine is cosine because we studied it. Just like that, we need to study God's word. And lastly, we need to have a regular habit and a spiritual discipline of repenting before God. And that's not only for those who are non-believers, but that's for all believers and everyone. And so I hope all of us could be a church that is uncompromised by doing these things together. Have a good week.